Shalom. First and foremost, I'm going to give all praises and glory and honor that's due to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Rakakwadash. I'd like to give double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone that rule well. Peace and blessings and salutations to the whole elect. New in the gospel abroad, lifting up the standard of Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, wherever it may be. This is a lesson through the Spirit. I was looking up some information and I was listening to brothers' videos that they had done about this. Well, it was a series of videos that the brothers had went into regarding this current administration with this whole Kamala campaign, when she's used basically certain celebrities to appall you Jakes and to appease to you Jakes' emotions based on a poorly generated lie that they are going to bring change for the better for our nation. But when you look at these people who they're having power and the people who they're trying to pander into, or the people that they're getting to pander to you tribes, man, it's full of witchcraft, it's full of sorcery, it's full of destruction. Now, this woman, Kamala, she sent out the likes of Barack Obama, Michelle Obama, Cardi B, Beyonce, Kelly Rowland, Oprah Winfrey, Quavo, Eminem, and God knows who else, right? To pander to the emotions of you Jakes because they want your vote, or they need your vote. Well, I wouldn't say they need it, but they're fordering for your vote, because ultimately these people who you set up in power, ultimately they want to destroy you because they know who you are. So if you pay attention, this current campaign between the Kamala administration, which is the current administration, the Biden administration, basically what's happening is that they're targeting the women because they understand that women deal with emotions, right? So you have this my body, my choice, this whole woke movement. You have this whole women's rights and feminism shit. And they're basically pushing mainly, which is appeasing to you women, the idea of Planned Parenthood, okay, or 187s, or unaliving your kids, which in the scriptures, women were oftentimes depressed because they couldn't bear children. Like I was reading the second address when the angel told Edris to go into the field for 7 days and to eat the flowers. And basically, the Lord put him in a trance. So in a vision, he saw a woman that was bereaved of her son. Basically, she was thriving to get a son, and when she finally got him, she was rejoiced. He got married, and he died in a marriage chamber, right? And she was basically in a frenzy about it. And Edris basically was like, "Man, you crying over something so minute. Our whole nation is suffering because of this." But we found out that he was in a vision, and a woman represented Israel. But to show you that when women that were barren in the ancient world, that wasn't a noble thing, okay? Because women, they often wanted to bear children. They wanted to keep the father's or the man's legacy alive. But today, you women are so self-indulged with your bullshit and with wickedness to the point you really believe that that's freedom to unalive the babies when your natural use is to create babies. So they put these people, Oprah Winfrey, they put Lady Gaga, which she's a fucking witch. They put all these demons in front of you to pander to your emotions, not knowing that it was a sinister agenda behind it. Okay, and a lot of these members go back to the Black Boule, like Martin Luther King, Jesse Jackass Jackson, Oprah Winfrey. You know, all these people go back to some form of fraternity order or some type of order, okay, which is set up against you because they set up these talking heads and they tell them what to say to you to let your guard down, and then they push an agenda on you, and before you know it, you're destroyed. And that's basically what's happening here. So she's not advocating for change for the better, but for the worse, because ultimately it's to do away with the nation of Israel. But women are so fucking dumb to the point you've bought into the narrative. So you're going down there to them polls and you're going down there and you're casting your vote for a bunch of people that don't really give two fucks about you. All right. So the point is, it says Margaret Sanger planned unalivehood. Okay. Which that tells you straightforward. If you have to Planned Parenthood, okay, that's another way of saying, look, unalive your kids. And you bitches are happy to do that. not knowing how fucking off that is. And then they push the semblance of, well, you know, what about women that get raped and all this other shit? Well, if you didn't push an unprofitable lifestyle, then you didn't tell women they can go as they please and run out 3, 4 o'clock in the morning and jump from Tom, Dick, and Harry to Mike, to Josh, to this nigga, that nigga. You know what I'm saying? And you put some type of modesty upon our women, then they wouldn't be getting raped up in record numbers. But see, you push that narrative and then you justify the means by saying, well, look, if this happened to you, then, you know, you just go ahead and get rid of it. But you've pushed an unprofitable lifestyle, man. Okay, you set up these church leaders, these niggas, you know, these talking heads that sound good, you know, that work with these the bureaucracies, and then they push a false narrative on you. You know, like me personally, I've never heard of a modest woman getting raped. Now, I understand it does happen, but it's unlikely for a modest woman that's in the house before sunset or in the house before 8 o'clock, dressed appropriately, somebody raping her. That's unlikely. But you got a bitch that's on, and you notice all these TikTok influencers, all these social media influencers. Like, it was this one chick, I think she was down in Brazil. She was somewhere and she was going to sell some pictures to somebody and he ended up putting her to death. You see, but when you go on her IG, she got the skin tight, you know, like, you know how the little workout gear on, or the spandex, you know how the women wear the little short, tight shorts with the booties out and they ain't got no drawers on. I mean, you can see the split in the middle. They wearing the tops and shit with the titties out, the ass is out, hair is down. Men see that and they prey on that shit. So that's the difference. That's not modesty. So yeah, women like that are more likely to get grabbed up and something happened to them versus a woman that's covered and with a husband. So you can't push that narrative like, well, what if she gets raped? Well, the problem is because you teach them to not be modest. So this is why niggas snatch them up and do what they do to them. Okay, so anyway, I'm gonna play this video real quick. It's like a 7-minute video. I may interject here and there, but we're gonna get some precepts, and this is just what it is, because this is the same thing this is the same thing that happened during the time of Egypt. This is the same thing that happened during the time of Yahweh Shai. Because see, Esau understands that the Israelite man is he understands that the righteousness is gonna come of the Hebrew Israelite man. Okay, so if he can get the men out the way, then ultimately the women are just left for the pickings. Like Moses told us, he said, look, go in there and kill every man, woman, and child, and the ones that have not been touched, take for yourselves, man. Because basically what we did, we popped them women and we put our seeds in them. Okay, and ultimately, you know, the brother broke down that Planned Parenthood was basically to weed out the elect, to find out who was who. And this is why a lot of times when brothers were born into the world, like a lot of brothers got miracle stories, like parents try to abort them, you know, took all types of contraceptives, all types of shit. Men wasn't getting circumcised, all types of shit, man. They tried to do everything possible to do away with the elect, but it was not possible because the Lord told us, he says, all mine are dying and I'm glorified in them, okay? And none should pluck them out of my hand, roughly paraphrasing. So if you have Yahweh by Shem Yahushai, then, I mean, that's just what it is. Okay, so I'm going to play this video and we're gonna get to it, because this is basically what the modern day woman endorses, and they don't even realize it, and nor do they care, because my freedom, my rights, my body, my choice, right? That's how they say it. So,
Pitchborn, and this is the American Life League report. The federal government already funnels hundreds of millions of dollars to Planned Parenthood every year, so it should come as no surprise when it funnels your money to celebrate its founder. The Smithsonian National Portrait Gallery recently opened a new federally funded exhibit that, according to the museum's curator, celebrates women who have challenged and changed America over the past century. Included in the list is notorious liberal feminist Margaret Sanger. The National Portrait Gallery website provides a brief description of Sanger, describing a concerned crusader who fought with the courage of a wounded tiger for the promotion of birth control. What the Smithsonian exhibit fails to mention, however, is that Margaret Sanger founded the largest abortion chain in the country, now known as Planned Parenthood. But the exhibit also fails to explain the racist ideology behind Sanger's promotion of birth control. Many people don't really know what eugenics is. Eugenics is defined as belief in the possibility of improving the qualities of the human species by discouraging reproduction by persons having genetic defects or presumed to have inheritable.
Yeah, and this is why they're pushing basically the gender shit. This is why they're pushing men could become women, women could become men. This is why they're pushing it. Because ultimately, they're trying to stop the procreation of the Israelites. That's all it's about. So they push all these woke agendas and give you these so-called benefits of freedom. But yet, once you indulge in these type of festivities, then you become depressed. Like most momos, right? They said that a mo have the thought 70% of the time of committing suicide. Okay, look at this dude, Bruce Jenner, right? Remember him, All-American, Wheatie Box, all athlete, right? Now look at this dude, horrible. He's just a name, but a few. But it was proven that most guys that convert over and women that convert over, they have suicidal thoughts up to 80% of the time. Why? Because it goes against the natural nature of things. All right, and Esau knows this, but he pushed this out here as a form of choice and freedom. So he's pumped it to the point you people really want to change who the fuck you are. And these sorcerers and these people in power are set up to help push that narrative. Okay, Kamala don't give a fuck about you black women. Okay, she don't give a shit. She ain't one of you. But on your end, oh, well, I'm going to be free. I'm going to be a boss bitch. I'm going to be able to go to the club and get popped by a nigga and then go in and board his bitch. You know, that type of mindset. This is why you're going to get exactly what you asked for. Okay?
Desirable traits. Essentially, eugenics is the creation of a master race by controlling who has children and who doesn't. An article appearing in the January 31st, 1922 edition of the New York Times bore the headline, "Mrs. Sanger says Superman is the aim of birth control." If creating a race of supermen is the goal, who did Sanger believe had genetic defects or undesirable traits that stood in the way? In his book, Birth Control, Facts and Responsibilities, Adolf Meyer quoted an essay Sanger wrote in 1925, entitled, "The Need of Birth Control in America."
Birth control is not merely an individual problem. It is not merely a national question. It concerns the whole wide world, the ultimate destiny of the human race. In his last book, Mr. H.G. Wells speaks of the meaningless, aimless lives which cram this world of ours.
Like, look at this bitch. It says, Big Ray, why not praise her? You or anyone cannot deny the fact that birth control was in and has always will be a genius deal. A woman's right to have control over their bodies, lives, and future is genius, right? See, and that's the prime example of a fucking dumbass bitch, right? Because they really believe that it's about control. Okay, the whole concept of that dummy was to do away with our people because they know who we are, but you're so stupid to the point that you're collateral damage. Okay, so they was like, you know what? We killed two birds with one stone because they at least don't care about the lower level Edomite anyway. But see, these women are they're so hell bent on a power trip to the point, no matter how stupid or how ridiculous it is, it's just a point of choice, even if it means to be ruinous. Like I've already said, a woman will make an emotional decision within 10 minutes that would destroy the rest of her life, all because of a fucking emotion. Because I want control. Well, this is how you have control. Don't lay down with everybody. Keep your ass in the house. Stop being a fucking hoe. All right? That's how you have control. When you ain't letting everybody bust up inside you and do and have their way with you. Instead, you want to go out and do what you want to do and not suffer the consequences behind your actions. Okay? There has to be a repercussion for these things, man. All right?
Hordes of people who are born, who live, yet who have done absolutely nothing to advance the race one iota. Their lives are hopeless repetitions. All that they have said has been said before. All that they have done has been done better before. Such human weeds clog up the path, drain out the energies and the resources of this little earth. We must clear the way for a better world. We must cultivate our garden.
In 1922, Sanger wrote a book entitled The Pivot of Civilization. In it is a chapter called The Cruelty of Charity, where she blasts programs that provide medical and nursing facilities to slum mothers as insidiously injurious. In the same book, Sanger called for the cessation of charity, for the segregation of morons, misfits, and the maladjusted, and for the sterilization of genetically inferior races. She also argued that
And that's talking about you Israelites, man. All right. The goal was to destroy you because ultimately they knew that prophets was going to be woken up and it was going to speak their demise. Okay. So this is why they set up these particular clinics to hope to catch one of the elect. But they don't understand the will of Yahweh Shem Yahushai, man. All right. Matter of fact, let's do this real quick. Let me pull this up real quick. John 10, and I'm going to start at verses 27. It says, my sheep hear my voice, and I know them, and they follow me. Let's go into the elect, okay? And it says here, and I give unto them eternal life, and they should never perish, neither should any man pluck them out of my hand. And my Father, which gave me them, is greater than I, and no man is able to pluck them out of my Father's hand. And I and my Father are one. So it was a very futile attempt to try to do away with us, but there was no way they can do it because it was the will of the Heavenly Father that we was going to come into the world anyway, okay, because this was the purpose. So while all this, when you look at these demons here, these people, especially this demon on the left, Oprah Winfrey, which she's a known Marxist, all right, Lady Gaga, they pump these people in front of you and then they give them a speech to offset your thinking, and before you know it, you've already been betwixt by the sorcery which they've put on you, man. You know, and this is why we tell you, Jakes, man, hey, the 2/3 of you gotta go, because everybody is going down there to these polls to vote tonight for this woman on the right, all because of what she stands for, because they think she stands for women's rights, but she's giving you the right to pretty much unalive yourselves, because that's ultimately what they want to do. Okay, they don't care about your kids. They don't give a fuck about you being free. It ain't about that. Because if they truly cared about you being free, they wouldn't tax you to death. Okay, you wouldn't have to pay taxes. You wouldn't have to pay no goddamn rent. You would be self-sustained. You'll have full autonomy to do as you need to do in order to make you and your family lives better. But they're not going to do that. But instead, they give you the means to destroy yourselves morally and spiritually. And have at it, because, you know, the ones you that's partaking in this ritual of voting, the Most High is not dealing with you anyway. So to say this, have at it.
Attempts to help the poor was the surest sign that our civilization has bred, is breeding, and is perpetuating defectives, delinquents, and dependents. The Birth Control Review was Sanger's official publication for the American Birth Control League, and in 1932 she outlined her plan for peace.
The main objectives of the Population Congress would be to apply a stern and rigid policy of sterilization and segregation to that grade of population whose progeny is already tainted, to give certain dysgenic groups in our population their choice of segregation or sterilization, and to apportion farmlands and homesteads for these segregated persons where they would be taught to work under competent instructors for the period of their entire lives.
Sanger's admiration for the eugenics programs of Nazi Germany were well known at the time. In 1933, the Birth Control Review published Eugenic Sterilization, an Urgent Need, by Ernst Rudin, who was Hitler's director of genetic sterilization and the founder of the Nazi Society for Racial Hygiene. In her praise for the eugenics programs in Germany, Sanger called for the implementation of such programs in the United States, specifically targeting African Americans. The following editorial was published in the 1932 issue of the Birth Control Review.
Yeah, and while you black demons are unaliving your babies, they said the most dangerous spot for a so-called black boy is in the womb of a black woman. I was told the other day that this one chick, she had 6 abortions back to back, and she suffered from major bipolar disorder. Why is that? Because for one thing, dealing with different men, different specimens, it's proven that when a man puts his DNA in you, it binds to the woman's spirit or to her mind for the rest of her life. So you got all these women out here with these different spirits in them. This is the reason why they're so fucking bugged out. Okay, because they have that man's spirit, they have his spirit, especially the ones that deal with men from different, you know, that have children from different fathers. You totally can't deal with a woman like that. Her mind is all fucked up, man. And a lot of times, those women, they go into depression. They all over the place, and I mean, they're through. And this is the result of it, because this system teaches that that's okay. And this is what happens when you liberate women, when you give them the ability to do the things that they want to do, because they have no wisdom, which proves that Job 39:17, the Most High didn't give them wisdom, nor have he imparted to our understanding, which proves that they have no fucking wisdom, man. All right?
The Negro problem is one of the most complicated and important confronting America. Whatever the ultimate answer may be, such an attitude brings to light the function of birth control as a necessary agency in its solution. The present submerged condition of the Negro is due in large part to the high fertility of the race under disastrously adverse circumstances. Thus, the question arises, to what extent birth control has had a eugenic effect upon the Negro race?
If any question should remain about Sanger's racist agenda, a 1939 letter she wrote to Dr. Clarence Gamble should remove all doubt.
We should hire 3 or 4 colored ministers, preferably with social service backgrounds and with...
Right. So basically, the sellout of your leaders. So this is when your Martin Luther Kings come in place, your Jesse Jacksons, your Charles Drews, your fucking what's this other clown's name? Your Marcus Garveys. The whole NAACP, which was set up back in 1907, I believe, which was set up by a bunch of small hats. All right, but this is why you have the semblance of the civil rights movement. They set up leaders like this and puppeteers to spoon feed you these lies, man, and make it sound good. This is why Jesse Jackson has become a national hero in the black community. Al Sharpton, Malcolm X. Malcolm X was kind of straddling in the fence. He said a lot of things, and he did expose this, but even then, he was bought and paid for. And you see what happened to him when he came out with the truth. They put a bullet in his ass, man. Okay, Martin Luther King, when he started to really wake up and say, you know what, I'm afraid I've led my people into a burning house. Hey, that's when they put a bullet in that nigga, man. And allegedly, he didn't even die from the shot. Allegedly, they killed the nigga in the hospital. That's what I've heard, but I don't really know. Okay, but either way it go, he's dead. Okay, and then you got all these leaders, like you got this nigga Brandon Jackson. You got this nigga Quentin Lucas of Kansas City, which I don't know he may be a fucking Hamite, or he may be I think he may be like a Manassite or something. I don't know. He just have a real different spirit, but he may be Northern Kingdom, but they put all these people, Oprah Winfrey, look at this. And they give you Barack Obama, very charismatic leaders to get you to drop your guard down, man. All right. And you niggas are sitting up here. Oh, yeah, see, we got a black president. When Barack Obama's ass became president back in 2008, man, you niggas thought it was the second coming of Yahweh Shai, man. I mean, Jake was crying. It was passing out in the middle of the streets. It was just like, I don't think twerking was really a big, twerking have always been there, but you didn't have Glorilla to publicize it. But regardless of it, man, you niggas fell for the okie doke, and they're straight up telling you this is exactly what these policies that they're pushing on you. Okay, look at her, the left wing and the right wing. Okay, both have a certain set of policies they want to push to destroy you Jakes. Because at the end of the day, nobody wants you here, okay? They want you to be done away with, even if they have to target their own people in the process. This is the plans of the elites, man. All right? So matter of fact, let's do this. I wanted to kind of let the video play, but I feel like the scriptures haven't came out really. So anyway, this is the book of Exodus 1, and I'm going to start at verses... Let's start at verses 6. Okay, now this is in the New Living Testament. And it says, in a time Joseph and all his brothers died, ending that entire generation. But their descendants, the Israelites, had many children and grandchildren, all right? Because, see, Jake, we like to have kids. We like to do what we do, and we like to procreate, Like they say, baby's kids, we don't die, we multiply. We the Lord's baby's kids, man, because shit, Jake like to get it in, especially the Northern Kingdom. Okay, it's uncommon for a Northern Kingdom Jake to have less than 2 kids. Okay, usually if you are Issacharite or Ephraimite or any semblance of any tribe, you gonna at least have 2 or more kids, man. All right, like Joseph or Jose, which means to add, to be fruitful. Okay. But it says here, because their descendants, the Israelites, had many children and grandchildren. In fact, they multiplied so greatly that they became extremely powerful and filled the land. And this is what Esau fears. Okay, he fears that that our nation, we will overtake him because they understand the history. They understand the history of the time of the Byzantine Empire and when we ruled and we put them in slavery. Okay, and we've procreated, we've popped their women. Okay, and we made slaves out of their ass. They remember that. So ultimately, they're trying to avoid a repeat. And ultimately, because, they're trying to upset the prophecy. So they have these people like Kamala, Obama, Michelle, or Michael Obama pandering to the emotions of you Jakes, to you women mainly, to make ruinous choices. Okay? And this information is readily available. But like I said, you're so in a drunken state to the point of anybody presents this information to you, you'll call them a misogynist. They're being hateful. Okay? They're bitter. They hate women. You come up with all these particular shaming tactics to make the person that's presenting the information seems like he's just basically been just a nuisance. Okay, when it's right here in your face. You can't say that's what Kamala doing. She's giving me the right to do what I want to do. Yeah, because you women you're power hungry. Okay, for a bunch of people that shouldn't be in power, you're power hungry. All right, but it says here, so they became extremely powerful and filled the land. And eventually a new king came to power in Egypt who knew nothing about Joseph or what he had done. And he said to his people, look, the people of Israel now outnumber us and are stronger than we are. And we must make a plan, that Planned Parenthood, right? A plan to keep them from growing even more. Okay, it says if we don't, and if war breaks out, they would join our enemies and fight against us, and they would escape from the country. All right, and this is the same sentiment that Esau follows today. Like a lot of his philosophies goes back into ancient Egypt, going back into the Greeks, the Babylonians, the Romans. He's incorporated all these beliefs and he's incorporated them into this modern beast system, man. Okay, and ultimately he just have hatred for who we are. And it says here, and so the Egyptians made the Israelites their slaves, and they appointed brutal slave drivers over them. Sounds familiar, right? Hoping to wear them down with crushing labor. And they forced them to build the cities of Pithom and Ramesses and supply the centers for the king, which proves we built the pyramids. It says, but the more the Egyptians oppressed them, the more the Israelites multiplied and spread, and the more alarmed the Egyptians became. So, and it's been a proven fact, the more stressed out Jake is, he wants to get pleasure. He wants sex. Okay, that's a proven fact. I mean, I'm an Israelite man. I know how it is. When Jake gets stressed out, they result to things. It's like they need a constant dopamine hit. So hey, if they got a woman, then they popping a woman all day. And before you know it, shit, here come the kids. Okay. And it reads, it says, and so the Egyptians worked the people of Israel without mercy, and they made their lives bitter, forcing them to mix mortar and make bricks and do all the work in the fields. And they were ruthless in all their demands. Then Pharaoh, the king of Egypt, gave this order to the Hebrew midwives, Shiphrah and Puah, and it says, and when ye help the Hebrew women as they give birth, watch as they deliver. It says, if the baby is a boy, kill him. Bingo. So this thing is really to target the Israelite man, all right? Because like the brother from Dallas said, he said that basically Planned Parenthood was set up to kill off the elect. But as we just read in the book of John, the 10th chapter, you can't kill the elect because we are ordained from the beginning through the power of Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai. Okay? And they set up these niggas like Marcus Garvey, Malcolm X. Well, I won't even say Malcolm X, even though, like I said, he was dealing with the group that was actually set up to forward these agendas. Okay? Because that guy, what was it? Elijah Muhammad. What's the other nigga name? Elijah Muhammad. He was a what you call a Shriner Mason. So he was working directly under the elites, or he was like a agent of the elites, man. And Malcolm X was on to his ass, so basically he put a hit out on him. But Martin Luther King, like I said earlier, what's his other clown's name? Barack Obama. These men, Marxists, man. Boule members. Will Smiths, P. Diddy's. All these so-called celebrities that you see, all of them are part of this agenda. They're all part of the boule in some form or fashion. Why Jake is sitting up here all encapsulated by these men, Birdman, P. Diddy, Jay-Z. Jay-Z is another one. Okay, he's a high level witch. Okay, and you Jakes are sitting up here trying to be like a nigga like that.
Appeal. We backgrounds and with engaging personalities. The most successful educational approach to the Negro is through a religious appeal.
Yeah, and they know that because they know that we're the Israelites. Okay, because they know, like the scriptures say, we have a zeal of the Most High, but not according to knowledge. So these church leaders, they're set up to do this very thing. This is why you have Reverend Otis Moss III. This is why you had T.D. Jakes. What's that other clown name that died? What's this nigga's name? The other rich preacher. You had T.D. Jakes, and you had the other one, Creep Show Dollar. You got him, but it was another one I'm thinking about that used to deal with the little boys, which they all did. But, you know, and just to name a few, Joel Osteen, even though he's an Edomite, but nonetheless, they set up these black religious leaders to appeal to you niggas, man. And you follow them, and then, oh, this is of God. It got to be God because the way it make me feel. That's not a Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai, man, all right? So, matter of fact, let's go to this Jeremiah, the 23rd chapter. Because your leaders were set up to do just that, to push the bidding of the elite. So these pastors of these mega churches and shit like that, they come to them behind the door, they give them a person, say, look, push this curriculum, tell them this, teach them that. And before you know it, you dumbass black women and you dumbass black men are going to these churches behind your damn wives while your wife is sitting there salivating and getting wet between the legs for the preacher. They're basically pushing an agenda on your ass, man. You know? And the reason why a lot of you Jake men go to church is because your wife go there to look at the damn preachers. And the preachers are a bunch of moles. All right? But anyway, this is the book of Jeremiah 23. And I'm going to start at 1. It says, woe be unto the pastors that destroy it and scatter the sheep of my pasture, says the Lord. It says, whoa. Okay? That's these ninjas right here. Okay, like they going to give you this fucking bitch Cardi B. That fucking stripper. She used to set niggas up. Had niggas robbed. She blew all types of ride, man. Basically, you know, they polished her up and they pushed her in front of you. Same thing with that low-life, degenerate, sexy red, Glorilla, Megan Thee Stallion, which I ain't gonna cap. Megan Thee Stallion, she's actually pretty outside of all that makeup, but she's a fucking demon, man. Okay, Glorilla, Suki Hanas, Nicki Minaj's, Lil Wayne's, Birdman's, Jay-Z's, Beyonce, Kelly Rowland's, and the list goes on. All these niggas, they feed you. They keep you constant in rebellion against Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai. You know? And it reads, it says, therefore thus says the Lord Yahweh of Israel against the pastors that feed my people. And what are they feeding them? Feeding them lies, poison, venom. Okay? They feeding them deceit, death. Okay? And it says, ye have scattered my flock and driven them away and have not visited them. So behold, I will visit upon you the evil of your doings, says Yahweh. All right. And this is why a lot of them churchly, a lot of them pastors got straight put down. Like Martin Luther King, man. When it goes into that dream of dreams, the Most High said he should die. And what happened? He got put to death because Martin Luther King was a very prominent member that the Boule used, which the Boule goes into the Black Masons. They used him and he had a heavy role in that shit, man. Okay, they basically polished this guy Martin Luther King up to be the next Messiah to you niggas, man. And he already knew that he was going off. Okay, like they showed pictures of him with the Rothschilds, with the Rockefellers, you know, Nobel Peace Prize winners. And they found out that his script was written by a bunch of Amalekites, man. This is why he wrote that. I think he came out, he said, I'm afraid I've led my people into the burning house or some shit. Because Martin Luther King knew. He knew he fucked up. You know, he knew that the whole civil rights shit and all that was all a bunch of lies to propagate death among our people. And this is the result now. And then 20 years, 30 years down the line, you got what they call feminism now. Okay, women's rights. And then all of a sudden you got the woke agenda. You had gangster rap. And you got the woke agenda. And you got Me Too movement. And all these political movements that's really set up to destroy your race. Because if you pay attention to how shit is, who's affected the most by these political policies? You Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, man. Okay, that's who's affected the most because the target was you. There may be people among other nations, like now it's backfiring, like Lady Gaga. You got, and another one too is this bitch Taylor Swift. Okay, like if you in Kansas City and you deal with an Edomite chick, hey, you better know a little bit about Taylor Swift, man. All right, because these hoes, they worship that demon, Lady Gaga. You know, they worship these deities on the left hand side. So now that venom is affecting Esau now, man, and he don't know how to stop it. You know.
We don't want the word to go out that we want to exterminate the Negro population. And the minister is a man who can straighten out that idea if it ever occurs to any of their more rebellious members.
Can there be any wonder why Planned Parenthood opens its facilities in poor inner-city neighborhoods populated by minorities? Can there be any doubt that Sanger's philosophy of creating a pure race is what fuels Planned Parenthood's support of embryonic stem cell research? Margaret Sanger was a racist. She's responsible for the millions of babies that have been ethnically cleansed from our country and should not be celebrated by the taxpayer-funded Smithsonian.
Yeah, this is why they wanted to close down a lot of those things, but this is why they're advocating for to ban unaliving your kids, man. You know, that's the whole new sentiment of this new administration. Well, we need to bring back women's right to choose. So what? They can continue to pump this. This is all it's about. It's not because you was going out on a town and, you know, you got pissy drunk and somebody grabbed you up and raped you. I mean, that's on you because this society, they don't push order, okay? They don't push righteousness. They push wickedness, okay? They push evil. They push death. What can eliminate you getting pregnant out of wedlock or against your will is the fact that you were fucking in order. That ends that right there. If you had a husband and you actually obeyed your husband and did what the hell was required of you in the eyes of the Heavenly Father, you wouldn't run into this issue. But if you got a bunch of people saying, do what you want to do, can't no man tell you what to do with your body, then, you know, you're creating a problem because women are not known to be viable leaders, clearly. And they know that, you know. Prime example, look at this bitch, Kamala. She's a fucking hoe. She's literally getting they do all types of shit to this whatever the hell you want to call her. I don't even got a name for her. She's just a fucking demon. You know, and this is why a lot of you women are getting ready to be unalived in record. If she wins, sooner than later, a lot of you women are gonna get unalived in record numbers, all right? Because the men are gonna get rebellious and they to the point, hey, they're not gonna deal with you anymore. You know? So anyway, let me finish the last couple of precepts. I was already long-winded. But anyway, it says, and when you help the Hebrew women as they gave birth, watch as they deliver, because they understood that a Savior was going to come out of the loins of Jacob. They understood that. It says, if the baby is a boy, kill him. If it is a girl, let her live, because for the simple fact, they didn't fear the women because it was a well-known fact that the man carries the seed. Okay, now if you kill all the women, then you have all men, then men ain't gonna be popping men. You can't bear your seed that way. Okay, you need women around because you have to bear seed. Okay, they got a policy called scorch earth policy. If you was to scorch all earth and then you have all this seed, then nothing can copulate of the earth because it's scorched. So you have to have women around to bring back your seed, and that was a very known fact. But the Israelite man is the power, and they know that. Okay, like let's just say if they killed every last one of us off, but they left every Keisha, every Latina, every Native American woman here, they would be ripe for the taking, and before you know it, we'll be done away with. Okay, because it would have been a total end to our bloodline, you know? So basically you'll run around here with a bunch of fucking terrorists, which the black woman, she loves bringing forth the seed of the enemy. Okay, that's the black woman's dream, to have a baby by a fucking Edomite. You know, oh, my baby got good hair. It's the most sickest shit I've ever heard, you know? But it says, when you help the Hebrew women as they give birth, watch as they deliver. It says, if the baby is a boy, kill him. If it is a girl, let her live. But because the midwives feared the Most High, they refused to obey the king's order, and they allowed the boys to live too. So the king of Egypt called for the midwives. Why have you done this? He demanded, why have you allowed the boys to live? So the point is, they want to kill the Israelites, man. Okay, they want to do away with us, and it gets to the point. And it says, the Hebrew women are not like the Egyptian women. The midwives replied. It says they are more vigorous and have their babies so quickly that we cannot get there in time. So the Most High was good to the midwives, and the Israelites continued to multiply, growing more and more powerful, all right? And this is the point. Okay, they want to take us out. And ultimately, because look, it says, then Pharaoh gave order to all his people, throw every newborn Hebrew boy into the Nile River, but you may let the girls live. So that was an order to kill the men. All right. And that's the same thing today. But like I said, these women, they're not following the sentiment of the Hebrew midwives. They didn't do that. They didn't say, you know what, we're not going to unalive their babies, because of the simple fact, why would we do that? That's against the order of the Lord. But they was like, fuck that. We want to be free. We want to live. We want to be able to go out and twerk. We want to go to the club. We want to drive the new cars. We want the lofts downtown. We want to be able to walk out naked. We want the power. A bunch of dumb, silly shit. And this is the reason why they getting ready to get fucked up. All right. And so be it. One last precept. Matter of fact, Psalms 83 is good, but for time's sake, I'm not going to go there. We're going to go right to Matthew's, the 2nd chapter. And I'm going to start at verses. Let's go here. Matthew's 2, and we started like 4. Okay, the visitors from the east. And it says, now Yahushua was born in Bethlehem in Judea during the reign of King Herod. About that time, some wise men from eastern lands arrived in Jerusalem, asking, where's the newborn king of the Jews? We saw a star as it arose, and we have come to worship him. Because you had astrologers and men that study the heavens to understand certain future events. So they was looking on the wise as to when the Messiah was going to be born, because they understood the prophecy going back to Deuteronomy that a king was going to be set up among our brethren, and he was going to bring peace and put the heathens in slavery. And in order to upset that prophecy, they wanted to kill him. Okay. And it says here, and King Herod was deeply disturbed when he heard this, as was everyone in Jerusalem. And he called the meetings of the leading priests and teachers of the religious law and asked, where's the Messiah supposed to be born? In Bethlehem in Judea, they said, for this is what the prophet wrote. And you, O Bethlehem, and the land of Judah, are not least among the ruling cities of Judah. For a ruler will come from you, who will be the shepherd for my people Israel. Then Herod called for a private meeting with the wise men, and he learned from them that the time when the star first appeared. But going back here, it says, and you, O Bethlehem, and the land of Judah, are not least among the ruling cities of Judah. For a ruler will come from you, who is Yahushua, and who will be the shepherd for my people Israel, which proves that the Yahushua only came for the Israelites, to you vocab, But going down here, it says, and he told them, go to Bethlehem and search carefully for the child. And when you find him, come back to tell me, so that I can go and worship him too, which it was a cap. He wanted to put the Messiah to death. Okay, and it says, and after this interview, the wise men went their way, and the star they had seen in the east guided them to Bethlehem. And I speculate that star may have been a chariot. It says here, I speculate, but it says, and it went ahead of them and stopped over the place where the child was. And when they saw the star, they were filled with joy. Then entered the house and saw the child with his mother, Mary, and they bowed down and worshipped him. Then they opened their treasure chest and gave him gifts of gold, frankincense, and myrrh. And when it was time to leave, they returned to their own country by another route. For the Most High had warned them in a dream not to return to Herod. Right? Because it says here, and after the wise men were gone, the angel of the Lord appeared to Joseph in a dream. Get up, flee to Egypt with the child and his mother, saying, the angel said, and stay there until I tell you to return, because Herod is going to search for the child to kill him. So that's the point I wanted to make, man. So all of this stupid shit about this, my body, my choice, my rights, is all a setup, man. And you stupid women are falling right for the okie doke, as you always do, which proves that you have no fucking wisdom. All right. But anyway, I'm going to end it giving all praises and glory and honor that's due to Yahweh Bashim, Yahweh Shai. Lord's will, you will edify. Until the next lesson.